And so what they would do is literally they'd put deals together that were very difficult to structure, but they'd build like 5 or 6 homes. Well, that was good for that little block, but it didn't really change the dynamic of the neighborhood, and it didn't have the impact that we think it should have had. So what we're doing now is encouraging neighborhoods, well, wait a minute, before you build 5 or 6 homes and spend $500,000, wouldn't that $500,000 be better used to do X, Y, or Z and really have a greater impact on the entire broad neighborhood? We are continuing to develop our riverfront property and trails. We recently went out for a master plan along the Allegheny riverfront. It is a 6-mile segment that stretches from the Strip District, where our convention center is, that abuts downtown, all the way up to Highland Park, which is a neighborhood in Pittsburgh. It's a great opportunity for us to continue that. I would argue that Pittsburgh has probably done more than most cities, if not all cities, in redeveloping and reclaiming our riverfront. We have trails all along them. We have stadiums, casinos. We have people living. We have recreational places. The Allegheny riverfront is another opportunity for us to continue that. The good news is we have 3 rivers. 2 of them are moving pretty good. The third is the Allegheny riverfront, which we're now attempting to focus on as well. And then the South Shore riverfront is the trail system that immediately abuts the former steel site that we talked about earlier. Some neighborhood revitalization, and I'm going to wrap up because I'm running out of time here. Lawrenceville is a neighborhood that's attracting a lot of young people. We are trying to create a zone there for them that has shops, studios, showrooms, and giving them and those that are artistic in nature kind of a home where they can move. Same goes for the Penn Avenue Arts Initiative, which is pretty close to Lawrenceville as well. So that's kind of where the young, hip, innovative, artisty kind of folks are moving in Pittsburgh, and it's really working well and it's growing. And same goes for the East End development. Green leadership, we've talked about it. Green building, our first. Pittsburgh is home to the first Green Convention Center, Children's Museum, our conservatory, our hockey arena. We're the first to seek that certification for a hockey arena or any sporting facility. 3 PNC we talked about earlier. And then also in government, we're trying to do that as well. I hired the first ever sustainability coordinator in the city. We have recycling programs that we've upgraded. I talked a little bit earlier about our Green Up program. Our culture is something that is often overlooked in Pittsburgh. The museums that we have, the cultural facilities, our cultural district in downtown, our symphony. Our symphony is so good that we mentioned it twice. Yeah, but seriously, our cultural institutions really, in many ways, and our symphony is that good, by the way. It was kind of a joke, but it's true. They are world-renowned. But our cultural district is wonderful. And then finally, I couldn't go without mentioning our sports teams. Can't be America's most livable city if you don't have good sports teams and good culture, which we're fortunate to have. And so in conclusion, we are in many ways a model for economic and environmental transformation. Our companies, as you've seen, have become global in scope, but fortunately for us, they've kept their roots in Pittsburgh. We've been a green leader, something we're proud of and want to continue to build upon. Our culture, as I mentioned, and we're honored to have the unique distinction of being the only American city ever to be named America's most livable city twice. We received that distinction once again a year or 2 ago. So again, I thank you for this opportunity. I hope that was helpful. And I know we're going to turn it back over, and then I'm going to take questions. So feel free to tell me that none of that interests you and you'd rather ask me something different. I'm more than willing to answer any questions you have about anything in Pittsburgh or anything that we're doing. So again, it's an honor to be here. I thank you, and I'll be back with you shortly. Thanks.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a New Leaders program featuring Mayor of Pittsburgh, Luke Ravenstahl. We would like to return to our speaker for a traditional City Club questions and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphone is City Club New Leaders Marketing Chair Brandon Litton. First question, please.
Mayor Ravenstahl, I thought it was very interesting that you presented so many great views of the city and all the things you're doing. And I think as a Clevelander, I was going through and saying I could match up probably picture for picture, project for project. But I'd like to go to the macro scale. Cleveland, you said Pittsburgh's about 300,000 people. Mm-hmm. Cleveland's about 400, 450, something in that range. You said you have 88 neighborhoods. We'd probably say we have 30-some neighborhoods, planning districts. And we're in a county of 1.2 million. So what I want to know is how you as a city relate to all those neighborhoods and to the region, and what the keys are to making that work together.
Great question. Very similar. Our county or region is about 1.213 million, 2 million, 3, same as it sounds is here. It's difficult because with dwindling resources that local government has, it is in many ways challenging to provide what we would like to provide to all of those neighborhoods. So we have a responsibility. When I say we have 88 neighborhoods, those are city neighborhoods. So we, of course, divert our resources and do as best we can with what we have. In addition to that, I have, fortunately, a good relationship with our county executive. Our county executive is elected by the entire county. It is similar to the mayor's position. It's an executive form of government. He and I recently, I guess it's not so recently now, over a year ago, announced that we want to consolidate, right? So we want to consolidate city government and county government and create one government. Within that county, and this will probably blow you away, we have 131 municipalities in Allegheny County. So there are 131 unique and distinct governments. There are 80-some-odd police forces in Allegheny County. There are 40-some school districts. So that, unfortunately, in many ways, holds us back. And so the establishments that have been built up, if you will, are comfortable where they are. There are 80-some police chiefs. There are 130 zoning boards. There are 100, and, so I argue because there are 130 zoning boards or planning commissions, what that essentially means is you have no planning or zoning because all you do is compete against the bordering municipality. So that has to change in my mind. But as you can imagine, that's been the structure for some time. And the reluctance and the resistance to that change is significant. So we've been met with a lot of opposition to that idea. We'll lose our representation, our voice will be gone, how will this work, how will that work? And so at this point, that's kind of been something that's stalled, despite the fact that the two leaders of the two governments are willing to stand up and say it. So despite the fact that the structural consolidation of the city and the county is, I guess you'd say, on hold right now, we have functionally shared services. So 911, for example, now is a county-run facility. They handle our 911. We're doing joint purchasing together. We are purchasing energy together. We are doing a bunch of other things that aren't coming to mind right now. But so in the short term, we've kind of done that functional, if you will, consolidation, with the long-term goal being structural and trying to think a little bit differently. And the thought is, if we're a city of 1.2 million with one voice, both at the federal level and the state level, we're that much more powerful. And but that being said, it's a long way coming. We've kind of modeled our approach after Louisville. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with their government structure. It took them probably 30 or 40 years. They voted down a referendum 2 or 3 different times. The good news for them is it was successful finally, I guess probably 5 or 10 years ago. But we're embarking upon that discussion now in Pittsburgh. And I hope it doesn't take us 30 to 40 years, but I'll also tell you it's not going to happen next year either.
Well, recently, Cleveland has adopted that same structure of government with a city and kind of county executive this past election cycle. My question is, there seems like you have a lot of economic development. Mm-hmm. How did the partnership work with the county government and also known as the city government as to work as it relates to economic development?
It's a great question, and one of the things that allows us to do those projects and allows us to be successful is the collaboration that exists in Pittsburgh. So when I mention all those projects that happened in the city, probably, if not all, 99% of the time, those projects were also supported by the county. In many cases, those projects were also supported by the state. So what happens is myself and the county executive go to the governor, who fortunately is the former mayor of Philadelphia and understands urban policy and the need to invest in cities, and say, we need help making this project happen.